Welcome to Elderly and Health. If you've ever felt the weight of silence in an empty home, this message is for you. Growing old alone doesn't mean growing lonely. Let's explore gentle, meaningful ways to stay mentally strong and spiritually centered, even when life feels quiet. There is a quiet reality that often settles in as we age, one that few people talk about openly: the experience of growing older and being alone. Children move away, spouses pass on, and familiar friends begin to fade into memory. The house that once echoed with laughter may now seem too still. For many seniors, this solitude isn't just about physical isolation, it seeps into the heart, slowly challenging one's sense of purpose and emotional balance. Loneliness in older adults is more than a feeling. Studies have shown it can affect memory, sleep, immune function, and even increase the risk of heart conditions and depression. But the most dangerous part? It often creeps in quietly. One day blends into the next. The calendar has fewer appointments. The phone rings less often. And without realizing it, the mind begins to drift into places of sadness or restlessness. But solitude doesn't have to be a sentence. It can also become a sanctuary, if we know how to live in it intentionally. There are gentle, life-affirming habits that many older adults have used to reshape their experience of being alone into something calm, meaningful, and even joyful. These aren't loud or flashy changes. They're small, quiet choices made each day that can protect your peace of mind, and maybe even restore it. In today's video, we're going to explore 7 gentle yet powerful things you can do when growing old and living alone. These habits are not complicated. They don't require big changes, expensive tools, or anyone else's approval. Instead, they're rooted in daily intention: how you start your morning, how you care for your space, how you stay connected in your own quiet way. You'll learn how to create a home that brings comfort, not emptiness. How to form rituals that give each day meaning. And how small acts of kindness, toward yourself and others, can shift your mindset completely. These are practices drawn from real seniors who have found peace, clarity, and even joy in solitude. Whether you're living alone by choice or circumstance, these ideas can help protect your mental well-being and renew your sense of purpose, one peaceful day at a time. When you live alone in your later years, mornings can feel strangely heavy. There's no one asking what's for breakfast, no footsteps in the hallway, no voice calling out your name. The sun still rises, but without a sense of structure or purpose, that first light of day can feel more like a reminder of what's missing than of what's possible. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can develop is starting your day with purpose, even if that purpose is small, even if it seems insignificant to others. For older adults living alone, this single act can be the foundation of emotional stability and mental clarity. Purpose doesn't have to mean something grand. You don't need to write a book or save the world. For some seniors, purpose begins with something as simple as watering a plant or making the bed carefully. For others, it might be reading a short prayer, doing a 5-minute stretch, or writing one sentence in a journal. It's not about the size of the action. It's about the intention behind it. Here's what happens when you start your day this way. You send a message to your mind that today matters. That you matter. And that's a message too many older people forget to tell themselves after years of caring for others. Take the example of Mrs. Helen, 78, who lives alone in upstate New York. Every morning, she writes down one thing she's thankful for and one thing she will do that day. Sometimes it's something practical like, call the pharmacy, or walk to the mailbox. Other times, it's softer, watch the sunrise, or listen to my favorite song from 1963. She says this simple habit gives her day a beginning and a reason to keep going. Another senior, Mr. Charles, 81, starts his day by standing on his porch with a cup of coffee and saying good morning to the trees. He jokes that the squirrels are his audience. They don't talk back, he laughs, but they show up every day. The science supports this too. Studies have shown that older adults with a sense of daily purpose have lower levels of stress hormones, better heart health, and reduced risk of cognitive decline. Even a few minutes of purposeful activity in the morning can set the tone for the entire day, especially when you're living on your own. But let's be honest, some mornings are hard. There will be days when you don't feel like doing anything, when the silence is too loud, or your body is too tired. That's okay. Those are the days when having a small, pre-decided ritual can gently pull you forward. Think of it as an anchor. You don't need to sail across the sea. You just need something that keeps you from drifting. If you're not sure where to begin, start with something sensory and simple. Boil water and steep a cup of tea. Feel the warmth in your hands. Light a scented candle and sit quietly beside it for 5 minutes. Look out the window and find one thing that's alive, a tree, a bird, even the sky. You don't need to accomplish anything. You just need to begin. Because in the end, what preserves our sanity when we're older and alone isn't the size of our to-do list, but the feeling that we are still part of the rhythm of life, that today, like yesterday, has a shape. That your presence matters, even in stillness. Start your morning with purpose. It might be the smallest step, but it could carry you the farthest. When you live alone, your home becomes more than just a place to sleep or eat. It becomes a reflection of your emotional world. And for many seniors, that space can either be a source of quiet comfort, or a mirror that echoes loneliness. That's why one of the most important things you can do for your mental health is to create a living space that feels alive, not just functional. You don't need to renovate, buy expensive furniture, or make dramatic changes. What matters most is that your home reflects warmth, identity, and life. Let's begin with something simple, light. Natural light has an incredible effect on mood, especially for older adults. Open your blinds in the morning. Let sunlight fill the room. If your windows face a garden or tree, even better. The movement of the light during the day reminds the brain of time passing, and that we're still moving forward with it. Then, consider color and memory. Surround yourself with items that bring emotional warmth. A quilt made by a loved one. A photo of your family, not too many to overwhelm, but just enough to anchor you. One senior I spoke to keeps an old pair of gardening gloves on her table, even though she no longer gardens. It reminds me that I built things. That I had purpose in these hands, she said. Plants are another beautiful way to bring life into your space. You don't need a full garden. One potted fern or a small peace lily can quietly say, there is still life here. Watching a plant grow, watering it, caring for it, gives a sense of shared rhythm. It's a companion that asks for little but offers peace in return. Sound also plays a role in making your home feel alive. Silence can be peaceful, but too much of it can also weigh heavy. Try soft instrumental music in the background. Or open a window and listen to the wind or birds. One senior I met in Arizona starts every morning with classical piano music playing softly in the kitchen. It keeps the silence from turning into sadness, she told me. Don't forget scent, the most emotional of all senses. A candle with the smell of fresh linen, a drop of lavender oil on a handkerchief, or the aroma of baked cinnamon from your toaster oven can instantly ground you in comfort and memory. And of course, organization matters. Clutter, especially in older age, can make the mind feel overwhelmed. You don't need a perfect house, just a space that feels calm and navigable. Keep what brings you joy. Let go of what weighs you down. Remember, this space is for you, not for guests, not for appearances. Let's also talk about ownership. When you live alone, you don't have to ask permission to decorate your home in ways that suit your soul. Want a wall full of ocean pictures? Hang them. Love birds? Display your favorite feathered friends. Your space should reflect who you are, not who you used to be for others. The goal is not to impress, but to express. To make your surroundings quietly whisper, you are safe here. You are seen. You are home. Because when your living space feels alive, something inside you stays alive too. And when you walk into a room and see a small plant growing, sunlight warming the walls, and a memory smiling from a photo frame, you're reminded that solitude doesn't mean emptiness. It means this space is yours. This life is still yours. And in a space that holds your story gently, peace becomes easier to find. As we grow older and begin living alone, one of the most overlooked challenges is the quiet erosion of daily structure. Without the presence of others to prompt us, no coworkers, no spouse, no children needing breakfast, time becomes softer, blurrier. Days can lose their shape. And when that happens, so can our sense of purpose. That's why one of the kindest gifts you can give yourself is the practice of a gentle daily routine focused on self-care. This isn't about strict schedules or rigid expectations. It's about creating rhythms that remind you, your body, your well-being, and your presence still matter, every day. A healthy routine begins with consistency, not complexity. You don't need 10 steps. Even just 2 or 3 repeatable habits can bring a sense of grounding. Let's take mornings as an example. After you wake up, you might 1. Drink a glass of water. 2. Wash your face or shower. 3. Change into comfortable, clean clothes, even if you're not going out. That alone can transform how your brain views the day. Putting on fresh clothes, even just a clean shirt, sends a message: I'm awake. I'm active. I'm part of this world. Another part of gentle self-care is moving your body every day, in a way that's safe and enjoyable. You don't have to power walk or lift weights. Even stretching your arms and legs for 5 minutes in the morning helps your circulation, your joints, and your mind. Some seniors find joy in chair yoga or light tai chi in the backyard. Others take a slow walk to the mailbox and pause to breathe in the fresh air. And don't overlook mealtimes. When you live alone, it's easy to eat whatever's quick, or to skip meals altogether. But preparing a simple, nourishing dish, even just for yourself, is a quiet act of love. Set the table. Use a plate you like. Light a candle, even if you're the only one eating. Food isn't just fuel, it's ritual. It's care. You deserve both. Self-care also includes mental hygiene. Take a few minutes a day to check in with your feelings. Some people write a few sentences in a notebook. Others speak out loud to themselves. Yes, that's allowed. You might say, I'm feeling tired today, but I'm okay. Naming what you feel gives it shape. And when you give your emotions shape, they don't control you, they simply visit, then move on. Another gentle practice is skin care. This might sound small, but for many older adults, touching your own face with kindness, applying a warm towel, using lotion, or gently massaging your hands, can bring a surprising sense of connection. The body still longs to be cared for, even if by your own hands. One senior named Louisa, age 76, told us, when I put on a little face cream each night, I feel like I'm tucking myself in. Like I used to do for my kids. The key to all these practices is not to judge. If you miss a day, that's okay. This is not about perfection, it's about permission. Permission to treat yourself with the same tenderness you once gave others. To recognize that your worth has not decreased simply because your household is quieter. Self-care in solitude is a quiet declaration: I am still here. And I still matter. So choose a few habits that feel natural. Do them daily, without pressure. Over time, these simple acts become anchors, holding you steady, even when life feels uncertain. Because when you show up for yourself every day, something beautiful happens: your spirit remembers how to feel alive again. Human beings are naturally wired for connection. But as we age, especially when living alone, our social circles often shrink. Friends move away. Family gets busy. Some loved ones pass on. The noise of life becomes quieter, and in that stillness, many seniors start to feel invisible. But connection doesn't have to mean being surrounded by people all the time. In fact, many older adults find more peace and fulfillment in fewer but more meaningful interactions. You don't need dozens of conversations to feel seen. You just need a few that truly matter. Let's begin by redefining what it means to stay connected. It's not about hosting dinner parties or constantly being on the phone. It's about genuine emotional touchpoints, moments when your heart feels less alone because someone else's heart is near. For some, this may come from a weekly phone call with a sibling or old friend. Even a 10-minute chat can be a lifeline. Not just for updates, but to laugh, to reminisce, to say, "I thought of you today." That alone can remind both people, we're still important to someone. Others find comfort in neighborly rituals. A nod to the mail carrier. A wave to someone walking their dog. Small gestures like these are seeds of connection. They remind us we're not isolated from the world, we're still part of its rhythm. One woman named Esther, 81, keeps a connection jar. Inside are the names of people she knows, some close, some distant. Every Sunday, she pulls one name and reaches out, even just to say, "How are you doing?" It gives her a sense of purpose and helps others feel remembered. Another meaningful form of connection is through community spaces, not necessarily crowded ones, but intentional ones. Local libraries, senior centers, or even gentle fitness groups offer places where you can exist with others, without pressure. You don't always need to talk. Sometimes just sitting in a room where others are reading, crafting, or moving brings a quiet kind of companionship. Technology also plays a role. Many older adults are now using video calls, online hobby groups, and messaging apps to stay close to distant family or meet new people with shared interests. If this feels overwhelming, start with just one thing. Maybe FaceTime with a grandchild once a week. Or ask someone to help you join a Facebook group about your favorite topic, gardening, old movies, birds. You'd be surprised how easily small conversations can blossom when you share something you love. But perhaps the most important reminder is this: you don't need to force connection to be valid. Some days, solitude feels right. And that's okay. The key is to listen to your emotional needs and answer them with gentleness. Reach out not because you should, but because you want your world to include voices other than your own. If you've been hurt in past relationships, give yourself grace. Start small. Connection isn't about fixing everything, it's about showing up where it feels safe and sincere. Even writing letters, yes, old-fashioned letters, to old friends or even strangers in nursing homes can give a surprising sense of warmth. In giving connection, you receive it. Remember, it's not about how many people are in your life. It's about who you can be real with. Who listens without judgment. Who makes you feel less like a number and more like a person still full of value. So go ahead, call someone. Wave to your neighbor. Join that quiet reading group. And know that every step toward connection, no matter how small, is a step toward feeling fully alive. Living alone in older age often means there's no one else around to witness your small daily victories or your quiet moments of reflection. No one sees the way the sunlight hits your kitchen table just right at 8 a.m., or hears your chuckle when you remember a sweet memory from 40 years ago. Over time, this lack of being seen can make you feel like your life is slipping into invisibility. But here's the truth: your story still matters. And one of the most powerful ways to preserve your sense of identity and purpose is to start documenting your life, not for others, but for yourself. You don't need to be a writer or an artist. You just need to show up honestly and consistently in a way that fits you. For some, this looks like keeping a simple journal, a few sentences each day about how you're feeling, what you saw outside your window, or a memory that drifted into your mind. Even something as small as, "Today I felt peaceful when I folded my laundry," is worth capturing. Why? Because it turns the unnoticed into the acknowledged. You're saying to yourself, "I was here. I felt this. This mattered to me." For others, it might be photography. You can use a basic phone camera to take photos of your morning cup of tea, a blooming flower, your cozy reading chair, or a bird perched on your fence. When you take that photo, you're declaring, "This is part of my life. I see beauty here." One gentleman, Mr. Harold, 84, began recording short voice memos every evening. "I just talk to myself," he says. "Sometimes it's about something that made me smile. Sometimes it's something I miss. But at the end of each message, I say, 'Good night, Harold.' It reminds me I'm still showing up for myself." Technology also allows us to make short videos, even if it's just 10 seconds of you walking through your garden or showing a favorite book. You don't need to post these anywhere. They can simply live in your device as a quiet archive of a life still being lived. Documenting your life is also a gentle way to remember that you are part of something larger. When you write down your thoughts, take a photo, or record your voice, you're placing a marker in time. You're participating in the human story. And in doing so, you're affirming your existence, not just to the world, but to yourself. Some seniors choose to write down stories from their childhood or early adult life, even if they never plan to share them. It helps reconnect with who they were, and still are. It's a reminder that your past is not just behind you, it's inside you. And writing it down helps it breathe again. You might also create a memory box, with letters, old photos, or objects that tell your story. Pick it up when you feel disconnected. Let it ground you. The act of recording doesn't have to be daily or perfect. It just has to be honest. Some days, you'll have more to say. Other days, only a line or two. That's okay. What matters is that you're not letting your life slip past unnoticed, because you are here, and your moments deserve to be seen, even by you alone. So go ahead, write a sentence, snap a photo, record your voice. Keep track of your days, no matter how quiet they seem. Because each small record is a declaration, I am still living. And my life still has meaning. When you live alone, it's easy to start believing that your actions don't affect anyone, that whether you speak or stay silent, the world keeps turning just the same. But the truth is, small acts of kindness still ripple outward, and just as importantly, they ripple inward. Doing something kind each day, even something simple, can become one of the most powerful ways to reconnect with a sense of meaning. It reminds you that your presence in the world still carries quiet weight. And often, the person who benefits the most from that kindness is you. Let's start small. Watering a plant might seem like a chore, but it's also a kind gesture toward life. You're tending to something, nurturing it. In return, the plant grows, and you witness that growth. That's not nothing. That's connection. Feeding birds in your backyard is another act that many seniors find grounding. It doesn't require a big investment, just a small feeder and some seeds. When the birds arrive, chirping and fluttering, it creates a moment of shared presence. They remind you that life still gathers around you. Other gentle forms of kindness include writing a thank you note, sending a message to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, or praying for someone by name. These things don't demand energy or perfection. They simply require awareness. Mr. Ben, age 79, told us he keeps a stack of blank cards on his table. Once a week, he writes a short note, sometimes to a grandchild, sometimes to a neighbor. I don't write anything fancy, he said. Just thinking of you today. That's it. But I feel better afterward. Like I reached beyond myself for a second. That's the heart of it. Kindness keeps us from closing in on ourselves. It opens a little window, lets in light. You can also do something kind for strangers. Some seniors bake cookies and leave them at the front desk of their apartment building. Others offer their old books to the community library. One woman knits small scarves and leaves them anonymously on benches in the park during winter. She calls it invisible kindness. But don't forget, you are also someone worthy of kindness. Each day, do at least one thing just for you, make a cup of tea, listen to your favorite song, take a warm bath, sit quietly in nature. Be kind to your body, your memories, your limits. You don't need to solve the world's problems. You just need to soften a corner of it. Because when you live alone, kindness becomes not just a gift, but a daily practice that says, I am still part of this world. I can still touch it with care. And slowly, without fanfare, that quiet kindness brings your heart back to life. There is a quiet wisdom that only comes with age, a soft understanding that not everything must be rushed, solved, or explained. When you live alone, you are given something rare in today's world, time to reflect. Time to sit with your thoughts, to remember the people you've loved, the paths you've walked, and the moments that have shaped you. But reflection is not the same as regret. Too often, we use our quiet moments to revisit old mistakes or replay what we wish we had done differently. That kind of reflection can turn heavy. What we're talking about here is gentle reflection, the kind that brings warmth, not sorrow. Try setting aside just 10 minutes a day to simply sit and remember with kindness. You might recall a friend from long ago, a meal shared with family, or a time you overcame something difficult. Let these memories visit you like old friends, not to judge or fix, but to remind you of how far you've come. Then, invite gratitude in. Not the forced kind, but quiet appreciation for the small things, a warm blanket, a soft rain, a call from a neighbor, a familiar song. These moments, though small, are real. And when you live alone, they matter more than ever. Living slowly does not mean doing nothing. It means doing things with presence. Drinking tea without rushing. Folding laundry while listening to music. Taking a walk and noticing the breeze on your face. These are not wasted moments. These are the moments. One senior shared, when I stopped trying to fill every hour, I started feeling more at peace. I began to feel life again, not as noise, but as stillness. So allow yourself to live slowly. To reflect gently. To be thankful for the days that brought you here. Because in that slowness, something sacred awakens, the quiet joy of simply being. Living alone in older age doesn't mean you have to feel alone. In fact, solitude can become a sacred space, a place to rediscover who you are when no one else is watching. From starting your day with purpose, to creating a home that feels alive, to giving kindness a voice in your daily life, each small habit helps build emotional strength, one gentle moment at a time. You don't need big changes to feel whole again. You only need to show up for yourself with care, with softness, and with the quiet belief that your presence still matters deeply. The beauty of aging alone is that it invites you to live more intentionally, more quietly, and more truthfully. So today, choose one small thing that centers you. And let it remind you, you are not invisible, you are vital, worthy, and deeply human. If this message touched your heart, please subscribe to Elderly and Health. Your journey matters, and we're here to walk beside you, one peaceful step at a time.